Geoffrey Comics.
The current release of any Marvel movies or any movies based on any comic books impacted the sales negative or positively?
It really depends when stuff like that happens. Like when Iron Man, the first movie came out, they put a new writer, new artist on it, and put really big promotion into the new #1 Iron Man. And so the question is it selling more because it's Iron Man #1 or because it came out a month after the movie? There's a bunch of things, and then the guy that writes it is awesome. Bunch of kids come in, like, I want Iron Man, I want Thor, or I want Batman, because the Batman movies were so good. No kids came in and said I want Green Lantern, and it's kind of sucks because Green Lantern was their DC is actually DC's most popular character in terms of sales before the movie came out. So maybe it was just that Green Lantern had been popular enough for so long that he was starting to dip naturally, and the movie came out and it just kept going down. I honestly do think that Green Lantern was so bad that the sales were hurt by it.
Are your newer releases, newer comics as popular as the older, or is there a preference?
Probably the biggest chunk of our money is the new. We have a lot of customers who come in for the old stuff because we're the only ones, but then they also buy their new books here because they buy their old books here. No comic store can survive without the new books. It's just not possible.
What's the longest series you've been reading since you started reading?
The two things that kind of got me into comic books when I was a kid would have been X-Men and Flash. And I still read both of them. X-Men was like, the quality when I started was great, and then it just got so awful I stopped reading it. But in the last 3 or 4 years it's gotten just as good as when I started it. Flash was up here when I started, and we're at the valley now. It's just and I still pick it up and read it, but I don't take them home and put in my collection anymore.
Does it have to do with certain writers?
I mean, definitely. That's one thing that kind of people would be outside of the industry who don't necessarily.
Do you think people will still buy paperback comic books in another 20 years from now?
I definitely think so. I mean, we've had a chance to be replaced in terms of the electronic media, but comic books keep staying around. People like the collectability of them, and also just personally, I'm sure that I'm at least a little bit biased, but I prefer to hold something in my hands to reading, not just with comic books, but with books too.
If you were turned into a superhero, what would you want your power to be, or your
Time travel.
time traveling?
Absolutely. But the ability to travel through time is absolutely what I would want.
Cool. Do you have a name you would want to have?
No, I wouldn't be all out in front of everybody. Secretive.
Let's say you were, you loved a comic. Like you said, Superman or X-Men hit a valley and then came back up. Do you keep reading it even through the valleys and then?
Well, the thing is that I get to read them for free. I just grab it off the shelf, read it, and put it back. It's my store. I am willing to stick with a book longer than I would expect anybody who's paying for it to stick with it.
Did you like the Fantastic Four movie?
This was just so terrible.
It looked okay.
Looked fine. The stories were terrible. Why was Jessica Alba in that movie? And then the second one with the big cloud of shit. Galactus is supposed to be a big being that's ancient and goes around feeding on planets, and they just show a cloud. Like every time it's supposed to be ominous, it's like, oh no, the cloud's kind of purple instead of gray. We should be scared.
How did you feel about the X-Men's First Class
I
movie?
thought it was just perfect, except for obviously the stuff where they didn't treat the black characters with quite as much respect as you would want. Power is you don't beat him. I was staying at the end of the movie. I was like, after the credits are going to show him like reforming out of sand. He's going to be fine, and everything's going to be okay.